I used to think that paying females bills, making sure that they were straight, would keep them committed to the program, but that's not necessarily true. Especially, I'm looking at them as an object now that they're no longer a person to me. Like, women can do the same thing. We be like, that's mine. But as men, especially as men, we have to be careful because it creates entitlement. We become too invested, and when a woman decides to move in a different direction than what we're used to, guess what? It can get dangerous. Welcome back, man. Hey, we here again. This what it do. It's Levi coming straight at you, and this is It's the Way We Live. This is where we come together to learn more about wisdom, knowledge, and understanding about this life. Before we get into the conversation, man, I'm gonna ask something that ain't gonna cost you. All I want y'all to do is just go hit that like button and subscribe. But let's get into it. Mark Twain, he said, "The world does not owe you anything. It was here way before you." Today, we're talking about like a mindset that destroys opportunity, it destroys connection, and it can destroy growth. Yep, that's right, entitlement. Not just in one area of life, but completely across the board. Because entitlement, it doesn't wear one face. Sometimes it's loud, sometimes it's subtle, but it always shows up expecting something it hasn't earned. So, what is entitlement? Well, entitlement is the belief that you deserve something, access, reward, loyalty, love, attention, without even putting the work, without respecting the boundaries, or without alignment. I guess the perfect word would be for it is ego. Is ego dressed up as expectation. Sometimes entitlement is obvious. Other times it hides behind passive aggression, guilt trip, or I was just asking. But make no mistake, it shows up in a way people demand things that they did not build. They ignore the process or they feel old because of proximity, just because they close to your friend or family or a close associate. What we're going to do is break it down, by different areas. And we're going to start off with workplace entitlement. Everybody know about this. This is where people feel as though that they've been on the job longer than others and they should get a promotion. You got employees that feel like they're working outside of the job description and doing that is beyond them. They feel as though that the minimal time at work deserves like a fat paycheck. I done did it before, rode the clock so long, but still want my 80 hours, but I ain't did nothing. Now that I think about it, that's probably one of the main reasons that the robots finna take over the workforce, because everybody feel entitled. So nobody's working no more. Everybody feel that they can be a boss, but that's not the case. You have social media and digital culture. Engagement is not a transaction. And we got to stop being so used to instant access and instant results that we think consistency automatically equals recognition. But you cannot microwave success. And you're not entitled to someone's time, their attention, just because you tap twice on the screen. You're not being ignored. You're just not old. You got some people that just have different principles or beliefs, and their beliefs or principles does not align with the post or comment doing or being active on online. People have different followings. The president, he might watch Love and Hip Hop, but he's not going to share it. So come on, man, like get out. Y'all got to get out y'all feelings about this liking. You got to understand, is your stuff being seen? Do people hate on you? Yeah, some people really do hate on you. They're not going to like you or support you. They feel like it's them. They feel like they should be the ones doing it. They just don't got the heart yet to do it. You have friendship and dating entitlement. This one, it hits deep because it wears love's mask. It's that I did it for you, so you owe me. Men and women sometimes tend to want to buy your love. Friends or family, they may help you, but they tend to hold it over your head. They say, I paid for your dinner, so I deserve something back. You're mine, so you can't post these things. You can't be having your ass out on the internet. You feel me? You can't be hugging that girl on that video like that. But love without freedom is not love, it's control. And if you're starting to question your partner and they doing some things that you don't really like, I mean, you need to start, asking yourself, is this the person you want to be with in the long run? So being generous does not entitle you to someone's body, the future, obedience. Relationships are about partnership, not payment. I used to think that paying females bills, making sure that they were straight, would keep them committed to the program, but that's not necessarily true. Especially, I'm looking at them as an object now, that they're no longer a person to me. Women can do the same thing. We be like, that's mine. But as as men, especially as men, we have to be careful because it creates entitlement. We become too invested, and when a woman decides to move in a different direction than what we're used to, guess what? It can get dangerous. Same situation with the woman being overly invested in the man. She too can become possessive or controlling. So that is why it's important to operate in your God form. Tap into your God form. Control yourself, not others. Remember, acts of kindness are done from the heart, not because you're trying to control the other person while using manipulation tactics. Now, I'm aware of who I am, and if I do something for a female now that I'm interested in, I make sure that it's coming from the heart. If it's not, it's like, man, I quickly need to, become self-aware and analyze if I'm trying to control this situation or not. You have family and generational entitlement. That's one of the deepest forms of entitlement, man. You have your parents, sometimes they be quick to say, I raised you, so you owe me this. You owe me your life. I put you through school, so you supposed to do this. We should take care of our elders, our parents, and the people who looked out for us. But when they're trying to use when they're trying to use it in a manipulative way, then you need to be aware that it's like a eyebrow raiser. A lot of times people feel like they're entitled to your time, but I had to tell sometimes like people, I'm too busy, man. Like I'm not saying like I'm trying to say that I don't mess with you, but I just really got a lot of stuff going on. You also got kids who think that their parents' fortune is theirs and they some entitled spoiled brats. But love and respect within family are sacred. But no one is entitled to control your adulthood simply because they were a part of your childhood. And no child is entitled to control you as a parent simply because they came from you. Parents, children, elders, and siblings, sometimes they confuse relationships with ownership. And when you grow beyond the dysfunction, they will call it betrayal. But it's not just liberation. You have cultural and community entitlement. This can get tricky too for some people. It got tricky for me when I had to come back from a good environment to more like, the hood. You got some people that feel as though that they struggle more than you. So they feel as though their voice matters over yours. Like you ain't been through enough to even make certain decisions or whatnot. They say you don't understand because you're not part of our circle. We always did it this way. So why we finna change it now? Because you're around. So entitlement in the community often hides behind tradition, hides behind trauma or tribe. But pain does not give us permission to silence others. Just because something's been the norm doesn't mean it should stay that way. And we're not here to repeat cycles. We're here to break them. The question now is, how do you handle entitlement? Well, one, be straight with people, bro. Stop gaslighting yourself. Stop lying to yourself just to keep the peace. You feel me? You'll blow up in the end. Holding your truth in can cause an explosive reaction that's not good for no parties. Two, set boundaries. Protect your energy, protect your time, and your vision. Three, don't over-explain. Entitled people often expect a full breakdown when you say no. So don't give them that. You have to make others respect it. Make your yes be yes and your no be no. You hear me? Number four, reward investment, not expectation. Give access to people who contribute, not just people who complain. I got a lot of people in my life that be complaining all of the time, man. I'm a head be about the bust. But they don't never want to do nothing. Now, if you complain and you really part of my life, man, I can't do nothing but act. Can't do nothing but, get with the program. But the ones who don't, man, keep it moving. So ask yourself this: where have I felt entitled to something that I didn't fully earn? Have I been expecting people to meet my needs without clear communication or reciprocation? Also ask yourself this: who is in your life that expects your energy, loyalty, or resources, but doesn't respect the weight of the process? So let this episode, be a reminder. Access is just a privilege. It's not a right. So in closing, entitlement will have people mad at you. Believe me, I know this. So don't give them the spotlight while they refuse to even show up for the rehearsal. So protect your purpose, respect your work, and don't let people guilt trip you into giving something that they never earned. Yeah.